loss, and there hasn't been any work there since. So that's the stop work order for this past month. But the one on Latin Town, I did hammer one up, but they do have engineering. He went, between me and you, he went the long way around. He should have just demoed the house and started from scratch. He decided to go board by board, but I've got an engineering report. The foundation was certified, and he's rebuilding.
God bless him.
Almost in a sense where he thought he was a pre-existing non-conforming, and he had to bring it back stick by stick, and he didn't. He had an acre. He's in the ag zone. He could have done it. He might have had to move the house a little bit, and maybe that was the extent of it. He didn't want to move the house at all because he didn't have the front yard setback.
I've never seen anything like that.
No, he's doing it.
He's doing it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Chief?
Activity summary for the month of February 2020 for the police department. Personal injury auto accidents 4, fatal 0, property damage accidents 10, total of 14 for the month. Vehicle and traffic summonses issued 168, parking violations 15. Total blotter entries 1,131 with 20 arrests. Telephone calls handled 1,801 calls. Overtime for part-time dispatchers and full-time dispatchers 0. Police mileage 12,780 miles with a fuel consumption of 1,115.601 gallons.
0 overtime? How'd that happen?
Wait until this month. Wait until this coming month.
I don't
They're
think I've
making
ever
it up.
seen 0.
Yep.
Any questions for the chief?
Do we have any special
Nick is not
thing
back.
with the 168
Nope.
summonses?
Nope. We have 2 guys that have been out there doing their thing.
Good.
Been very busy. Next month, you'll see that there's an absorbent amount of tickets. We've had a couple details already, and we have another one coming up on the 14th.
Okay.
So, but we have a couple guys that are out there doing their thing. We've freed them up from doing the monotonous work so that they could actually concentrate. We've had some issues with parking over the winter and stuff,
Is that
which you're well
mostly
aware of.
in the village of Marlborough?
Yeah, and we're concentrating on 9W. We've had quite a few car pole accidents lately. Lions Lane, 9W. I don't know why.
How did the NBA on 9W happen down at King Street?
So the driver says that his steering wheel locked up and the engine raced.
Where was he coming out of, King Street or 9W?
No, he's northbound on 9W.
9W.
Yep. Said the wheel locked and he couldn't turn it, so it went up over the curb, missed the first 2 parked cars, snapped the pole, knocked out 2 parked cars, and ended up in Amadeo's parking lot before he could get it to stop. So he says.
Because they were there for like almost 3 days.
Well, I went by at 12:30 that night or the next morning, and they were still there with the Central Hudson trucks, and then the next morning I went by, the Verizon trucks were there.
Spectrum was there too for a day.
So
And
They
then
were there on
next night
Saturday.
They were there still, because when I came home from work, they were still
Yep.
there.
Spectrum was hooking up to the houses.
The car's computer's gonna tell exactly what happened.
Right. They won't do a recon that way, though.
They won't?
Not for something like that. Although his insurance company's in for a ride.
Yeah,
They had 2 trucks there for many, many hours, plus flag people,
plus a pole.
plus a pole, and then if Verizon stuff hits them too.
2 cars.
Yeah.
Could you give us a short update on, or maybe we already did this, on the tow meeting we had? Was that?
So yes, we had the tow meeting, and it went very well, I thought. So suggestions were made. We took some notes. We're still waiting for
Yeah, I haven't seen anything yet.
Mr. DeBlanca's lawyers to send us his suggestions in writing. He felt it better that the communication come from his attorney rather than him spewing out suggestions in the group setting, which was what I would have preferred, but they opted not to. So we haven't done anything with that. We're just waiting for the response from the lawyer, and when we get that, I believe actually
They're gonna CC us.
you guys are going to get it, and then you'll CC me.
Right.
And then I'm supposed to share it with the other tow people, and I don't know if we're gonna have a follow-up meeting to discuss this, or we're just gonna, I don't know what we're gonna do with
what
it.
happens.
Let's see what
I'm not even sure what those responses are
Yeah,
gonna
let's
be.
see what
so.
comes back.
But some of the other tow meetings had some suggestions, or tow meetings, some of the other tow operators had some suggestions. They're looking for a little bit more time to respond, rather than that 20 minutes, they would like 30. There was some other open discussions.
Accident was the big one, right?
Yep, remove accidents from the tow law.
which helps us.
so that the tow company can deal directly with the insurance companies rather than us dictating what a fee would be for an accident, because every accident is different, requires different types of work, different cleanup, different amount of hours, sometimes more than one truck. And if we dictate that, we have no way of telling how extensive it's gonna be for the tow company. So that kinda makes sense to me, and I kinda agree with that, but,
Sort of takes us-
really, that was one of the big changes. The time was another big change, and then they're gonna ask for other changes. I just don't know what they are yet. So when that email gets forwarded, we'll know.
We'll address it.
Yes.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Chief.
Thanks, Chief.
John? Hey, John, how are you?
Good. So my monthly report for February 2020. Roads. Throughout the month, we concentrated on preparing the roads that are to be paved this year. We have spent many days tree and brush trimming along the roadsides, in which includes Mountain Road, Prospect Street, White Street, Birdsall Avenue, Hampton Road, Church Street, and Marlborough, and Orchard Street. We continue to do cold patching where as needed throughout the month. Drainage. During the month, we had crews cleaning ditches along Prospect Street in preparation of our paving that we are going to do this summer. We continue cleaning catch basin and pipe ends where needed. We also addressed a drainage issue at the intersection of Vineyard Lane, which is off of Hampton. Brush and weeds. Due to the mild month, we are able to continue to use our flail mower to cut back shoulders on our roadways in both of the hamlets. Water Department. On 2/1, we assisted the Water Department with a water main break on Old Indian Road. Then we assisted them to another water main break on 2/9 on Albertson Road. In training on 2/20, the entire department attended a mandatory workplace violence and sexual harassment training seminar, which was here. And gas for the month, 268 gallons. Diesel fuel, 1,043 gallons.
Thanks, John. I'd just like to say again, what you did with the snow this winter was amazing.
I got a lot of pull.
You must have a lot of pull.
I talked to my dad, and
Yeah.
I said, do
And
me
you-
good this
And then
winter.
you sprinkle in a couple high 60, 70-degree days, it's just, and you definitely right guy for the job. Good, thank you.
Thank you.
John, what's the diameter of those culverts you put down at the train station park?
60 inch by 60 feet
60-inch is
is the opening,
Yeah, okay.
and
Wow.
then 60 feet.
And all that galvanized came out, all the old stuff.
Everything, all the scrap was taken out of there.
Yeah, it's starting to shape up.
Nice.
Yeah, they spent all day down there.
Yeah, I know. I went to visit them. I put it on my Facebook.
So Wednesday, we're supposed to dig out the water line and get it deeper because it's not deep enough where the walkway's gonna be, so that's Wednesday's project on New Copper.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
we have some nice weather, so.
Yeah.
Take
we're lucky.
advantage, right?
Thanks, John.
Thanks, John.
Thanks for the map.
Mr. Majeo.
Charlie.
Good evening.
Monthly report for February, our water consumption totaled 14.370 million gallons, which is a daily usage of 495,000 a day. Last month, we were 16.3 million gallons, which is a daily usage of 525,000. And compared to a year ago, we were just 14 million, and the daily usage was a 500,000 gallons a day. Summary for the month, hydrants, we flushed hydrants at various dead-end locations. Water mains, we had to repair a 6-inch water main on Old Indian Road and Albertson Lane with the help of the highway department. Curb boxes, we had to repair curb boxes on Church Street. Billing, we had calls came in for bills, had to be alleviated. Bills are out, so if there's still any problems or questions about your bill, feel free to give us a call. Low-pressure calls on 9W had to be addressed. Closings, we had 4. Markouts, 25. Gallons of gas, 200. And the mileage for the month, 1,600.
Charlie, we all good now with the online payment?
Well,
I think Tina says got that straightened out.
it was down again, they repair it, and then it goes down, and then there's been.
So at this moment, when I left the office, it was up?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was.
Let's leave on a positive note.
Not making any promises, huh?
Thank you, Charlie, appreciate it. Colleen?
Town Clerk Monthly Report, February 2020, burn permits, 1 for $65, dog licenses, 13 for $75, tow licenses, 1 for $250, water services, 1 for $175, transfer station permits, 8 for $495, punch cards, 31 for $2,015, marriage licenses, 2 for $35, building department fees, 1 for $4,342.10, fire fees, 1 for $515, Zumba, 1 for $400, accident reports, 19 for $95, certified copies, 6 for $120, FOIA requests, 6 for $77.75, minor sales, 2 for $160, park fees, 2 for $600, for a grand total of $9,419.85.
Any questions for Colleen?
Thanks, Colleen.
Thank you, Colleen. Wastewater. You want to read that, Ed?
Sure. March 5th, 2020, for the month of February 2020, both the Marlborough and Milton wastewater treatment plants comply with all speedies requirements. The following are monthly statistics for both plants. Marlborough, average daily flow 124,000 gallons per day, about 71% of design capacity. Average BOD removal 99%. Average suspended solids removal 99%. Milton, average daily flow 29,500 gallons per day, about 53% of design capacity. Average BOD removal 97%. Average suspended solids 95%. There was no major events or changes at Marlborough during this month of February. At the Milton plant, rapid pump and meter visited to inspect a damaged return valve and a leak on the aeration line. We are planning on returning within the next few weeks to replace the entire valve and re-weld for the line. The roof of the building has been primed and is ready for the final coat. We are planning on accomplishing this once we have consistent warm weather and a color has been decided on. We are thinking that a lighter color such as gray will reflect heat. Please feel free to contact us at any time for more information. Thank you, Julian Falco.
You know, since we got the water department's report up, there's a thing here on new business, I think it is, new roof color of Milton Sewer Plant. So he's suggesting gray. I don't think that would reflect much, will it, Alan?
What's that?
The roof of the sewer plant?
The gray, that's fine.
The gray would kind of fit right in, right?
That's fine.
So, let's just tell them that, okay, we agree, the
Okay.
color
Yeah.
gray.
Yep, tell them.
Tell him to put the ladder down when he's not using it.
Didn't they take it out of there?
They finally did.
I thought we talked about this. I think they did take the light of that. Alan, you want to do the door control officer?
I can't read it because I don't have my computer
Oh.
working.
I
Somebody
can't
took,
see that, can you see that?
what's that? Yeah, I guess I could see it.
You want to use mine? Here.
Yeah, I'd rather read it off this. Okay. Received a total of 26 calls this month, including 15 calls to service from the Marlborough PD, State Police, and Ulster County Sheriff. Responded to 8 active complaints and/or cases which are now closed or resolved. We currently have 2 open cases that have been addressed but are ongoing or unresolved. 3 appearance tickets were issued this month. We impounded 0 dogs this month. There were 0 dog bites reported this month. We currently have 0 dogs in the kennel. We have 0 cases in the Marlborough Justice Court at this time. There's been a high volume of rabid raccoons reported in both Milton and Marlborough along the 9W corridor. We would like to caution residents not to leave their pets outside unattended. Rabid raccoons in their final stages will approach and bite your dog. End of report.
Thank you, Alan, appreciate it.
No problem.
And we have a special guest tonight.
And she can read the assessor's
Yeah, you
report.
can read your own report.
Yeah. Why don't you come up and read your, okay, well, you don't want to get on TV? Well, we could wait.
question and answer.
Would you like to go, before we do the report of the committees and old business to? I can only be here till 8. Okay, so why don't we skip ahead if it's all right with the board?
Fine.
And have you discuss about
Equalization.
equalization rate and where we are with that?
You have to do it at the microphone.
Yeah, you have to come up.
You have to. You do this all the time. We need to capture you on
We need to be on TV, they
Video.
gotta hear you.
So they could say we actually have you.
Taking off my soccer garb.
Speak into the microphone. Okay.
What's a specific
Turn it
question?
around.
Turn which way?
I don't know if it's
No,
on.
turn the microphone.
I don't even know if it's on.
There you go.
Equalization rate, can you explain how this all goes down, why we dropped 85% this year?
90.
90.
90% for our valuation, and how that affects the school tax compared to the town tax, all the stuff that everybody's complaining to us about.
So the equalization rate is a calculation which is set by the state. It's comprised of analyzing all the sales within the town, all the commercial, residential, and vacant land sales. It all goes into one pot, and they figure out the percentages of what our assessments are versus what the selling price is, and comes with that. In essence, the equalization rate is used to bring the town's values up to a level playing field, or a market value, or market estimate value of what they say that the town is worth. So normally when the equalization rate changes or drops, it means that the assessments are too low and the selling prices are increasing. So that's one of the reasons why, as your equalization rate drops, they're bringing those assessments values up to try to bring them to what they perceive to be as the market value. We have two different rates. We have an equalization rate and we have a residential assessment rate. The equalization rate, again, as I mentioned, it includes the sales of all the properties within the town. The residential assessment ratio only looks at residential properties. So our residential assessment ratio is dropping to about 85.67 this year, down from around 95, 94 or something, 96 I think it was, 98, I don't
So
remember.
we're gonna go down to 85, and that's because sales of houses are higher than
Correct.
anticipated?
That they're saying an 85% residential assessment ratio means that our average selling price for a home in the town is 15% below average.
And that 15%, how does that affect overall tax bill for the taxpayer?
The residential assessment ratio has absolutely nothing to do with the apportionment of taxes. The equalization rate, which is the level that looks at the sales of all property types, that's used to do the apportionment out for the taxing jurisdictions which it's applied to, whether it's the town, whether it's the school, whether it's the county. So
So to get back to 100% with the evaluation of the whole town, which we've been trying to do for 4 years now, that's what
Seems
would
like
actually get it back to 100%?
we would have to do a town-wide reassessment and adjust all the properties within the town to get back up to 100%.
And so, I think we talked about this last time, that we're talking about, and you have been looking to get an estimate of what this could cost, and we know we got some big number already, but I guess the question would be, and I know the board had this question last time, and I think Alan actually asked it. So say we do this whole evaluation, we get back to 100%, next year it could go back down again,
Absolutely.
basically, so we could spend all this money, and is it actually worth, I guess the question, is it worth doing a whole reevaluation?
You're never going to be able to predict what the market's going to change and how it changes every year. I would say normally there's a 10-year cycle with real estate values over the time. At least the 26, 27 years I've been here, that's what I've seen. Within that 10-year cycle, you'll see the property values go up, you'll see them plateau, something will happen, then you'll see them plummet, then you'll see them plateau a little bit and go up and down. So by bringing, it's difficult because when you do a reassessment, you're looking at sale prices that are at least a minimum of 18 months to 2 years old, and sometimes older than that, because you have to be able to do your valuation work. So you have to be able to look at information that's already been valued and verified So that's why they go back. It's the same way when they do the equalization rate calculations. They're looking at numbers that are a minimum of 12 months old when they do those numbers and look at them.
So it's the surrounding area, their equalization rate is also dropping.
Correct, yeah.
So-
I know the town of Platicills went from 100% down to 96% last year. This year, I believe they're going to be in the high 80s, maybe 89. I haven't talked to Matt about it. And I know Newburgh's last year, I want to say, went from 34 and change down to 32 and change. So it's not just the town of Marlborough who's seeing a change in the market with the selling prices within the town. It's at least the Hudson Valley from what we could tell, so yes.
That's where we get hurt sometimes. When Newburgh's went from 34 to 32, ours went from
From
100
100 to 95.
So
Yeah.
it was a bigger hit to us when you try to equalize for that. In terms
Actually,
of
our
our
values
portion.
went down, and I'll approximate the numbers, 5%. Newburgh's actually shifted down over 6%. So theoretically, they would have been assuming more percentage of the pie.
Somehow it didn't work out that way.
It didn't work out that way because, and I don't know the answer to these questions, but when Al and I attended a meeting with the school district to discuss it with the state, they also lost over $1 million of state aid, and there was a big shift in their budget. I'm going to assume it had something to do with the repayment from the overcharge from the Dynegy Central Hudson Dan Scammer lawsuit.
Right, the 1.2
Nobody
million.
really, at that point, could give any definite numbers or
Right,
information,
right.
but that's what we're theoretically
Yeah, I think I was at the
thinking.
meeting too, but.
You were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know when Frank and Mike participated in the conversation, they themselves did not 100% know what caused those shifts. They weren't sure why they lost that much money in the state aid.
I think it
I'm
had
not sure
something
if
to
it
do
was a
with the
lack of
roasting
communication
and Dan
or what
Scammer
it is.
assessment.
Yeah,
Something
they
to
forgot
do
to
with that.
add it in
Right.
on the,
It's very
so-
complicated.
Yeah, well,
it's-
whoever switched from, in Orange County, the town of Newburgh used to have their own individual, and then it went to Orange County, is actually doing all their assessment and stuff and evaluation. Somehow,
Well, yes.
that 1 point something million didn't get,
The assessor made an
Yeah,
error.
there was an error when they calculated the assessment change from the
Right.
lawsuit. I'm not sure where the lack of communication came through.
Somebody
but
could write a
they-
book
they-
about
They were
that.
basically overcharged a certain extra amount of money,
Yeah.
which then had to get paid back. And again, that's what Mike and Frank and I were thinking. They weren't really 100% sure of what those numbers were when we were discussing it.
The thing I'm a little confused about, Cindy, is I thought we were kind of doing this reassessment. We have been trying to do it.
Absolutely.
We had somebody hired and then we've had trouble
Yeah.
getting
Bunch of
somebody
people
to
working.
do that.
Yeah, we had
So we're-
decided when we originally started at that, because the town hasn't been, had our data recollected within the last 25 years or so. I think the last time there was a full-blown data reassessment was when they did the original reassessment.
What does
back
that mean?
95, so I'd say 92, 93. It was just before I started. So we've done them periodically throughout there, but it hasn't been a full-blown data reassessment, which is where we're at now. After 25 years of not doing that.
That's
need
what we
to
were
go
trying
out.
to get to.
That's what, yeah, we had hired the data
And
collection.
We
to
are
go out to do.
somewhat along that.
We
down
have
that road.
done, we have not done any commercial or any of the agricultural properties. That was going to be the end of it, and we started the residential, and I want to say, I think they got about 30 to 40% done with residential. They got a lot of the outskirt properties, which are the harder ones because they're further away.
Right.
So that's where we sat
So
at
if you
now.
had somebody, you would pick up there and
Right.
continue that, right?
Right, yeah,
But you
that's
haven't-
kind of what we've been looking for. We put some ads out trying to see if we could find somebody. It doesn't seem to be a highly desirable position. I know, having a brief conversation with Scott, we talked about maybe looking at going out and seeing what the cost would be to hire a firm to come in to
Right.
do a full-blown reassessment, which includes soup to nuts, everything from start to finish. And I put out 2 contacts. One contact I got back, they came in somewhere between $350,000 to $380,000, and it would be an 18-month to 24-month period. The other company that I reached out to twice at this point, I haven't heard back from yet.
Right.
So, but I would suspect it would be somewhere
The
around
same
that same
ballpark,
number.
So there are really 2 things. We need to go out to every property and find out exactly what is on that property, because
We
things
have-
have changed since
Yeah.
25 years.
We
And
have-
then assess that property.
It would be
We know
part of
what's
it,
there,
yes.
and then we have to figure out what it's worth.
And the homeowner doesn't have to let you on the book.
They do not, correct. We have information on all the properties currently, and it's basically going out there and verifying what we have on the file is correct,
Exactly.
taking new pictures of the property. I know, speaking to Mike and also Matt when they were doing it, you know, if they met the property, they would ask the property owner to go in to do an inspection. If they were let in, they would just do a quick inventory to say, okay, we have 3 bedrooms, we have 2.5 bathrooms, yep, kitchen, okay.
Yep.
And that, some people let them in, some people didn't, and they would just take pictures. So it's verifying what we have to make sure what we have on file is as accurate as possible before we go out to start doing the valuation on the property.
And we still want to do that, right?
Yes,
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, realize why we got talking about this, because when tax season came out and school tax came out, people were coming up to the town and blaming the town for the increase of their taxes, which we wanted to clarify that wasn't the case. And so that's why we had John come from Norps and sit with them and talk about that whole
There were a
thing.
lot of different pieces of the puzzle
But it's complicated, like
coming
how
in
it
at the
says.
same time. There was a change in our equalization rate. There were a change in Newburgh's equalization rate. There were a change in Platicille's equalization rate. There were some changes to the school budget that really probably, I'm guessing, weren't anticipated. There was a difference in the state aid, and I'm sure there were a lot of other things that were going on that, you know, we weren't sure of. So there's a lot of moving parts that affected that. But I know there was some miscommunication with the school district as to how the equalization rate gets applied and how that apportionment gets figured out when they're coming down and taking that taxable value that they need to raise to pay those taxes, and how that gets pushed out between the 3 communities affects.
And what did you say the estimate was that you got from the private?
The one company so far was between 350 to 380,000.
So that's why Newburgh never does a reevaluation.
I can't tell
There's a
you
couple
that.
of reasons.
There's a lot of reasons.
I would say it's a daunting task to ask a community to put the money in the budget to be able to do that. I mean, obviously, we know when properties are assessed at 100%, it's the easiest way for someone to understand it. It keeps everybody on the levelest playing field when you know that our values are as close to selling price as
But
possible.
for the $300,000+, that's really only going to be for about 18 months before it changes again.
It could possibly, yeah.
Because right now, it's
I-
real dynamic. I mean, they're probably going to still go up from here.
I would say yes, yeah.
So what is the benefit of actually doing this?
That was my next question.
The benefit is keeping the values as close to possible at the selling prices level. Also, when there's a change in the equalization rate, a lot of times, I know in the veterans exemption, when you're not at 100%, it changes the rate at which the veterans exemption gets applied towards a property. So every time that equalization rate number changes, there's some facets that it affects that people really don't understand.
So just the question is, if you didn't go out into the field and look at every single, because we're going in the field mainly to see, did you add something, right? Or take something down, right? Or most of the time it's adding something that we don't know about, right?
Or verifying it, yeah.
There, right? But if you just go by what they have in your office as, they have a 4-bedroom house, they have an acre of land, they have a separate garage, couldn't you just go off of that and reevaluate, even if it's not 100% accurate, it's better than what it was 25 years ago? Instead of going to the field?
I think you could, but anytime you're running these numbers and you're readjusting reassessments, you want to make sure that your information is as accurate as possible.
But you really think that somebody that
No, but I mean, a
added a
typical-
bedroom or added a bathroom is going to let you in?
No.
So you're not
No,
going
But I mean, a
You're never
typical,
gonna-
But-
you just said like a typical, 25 years ago, a typical 3-bedroom, 2-bath house on 1 acre of land was valued at this. What is a typical 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1 acre property today? If it's 20,000 more than what you currently have in the books, can't you just increase it 20,000 right there and say?
No,
right
because
there,
not all houses are selling at the same thing. When you calculate the equalization rate, it takes an average of everything that's selling. When you calculate the residential assessment ratio, it just takes, if you have 100 properties that sell, it looks at 100 assessments versus 100 selling prices, takes the number, divides it out, there's no adjustments. My contemporary houses and my waterfront houses are selling for a little bit more than the house that sits up on the hills.
Yeah, but can you take
So-
that into account without physically having to go to the
No.
property?
Anytime that you're adjusting numbers, you absolutely have to go out and do inspections on the property before you go out and run those assessments and those changes, and then once you determine what your new assessment's gonna be, you absolutely have to go out and field verify those. That's part of the whole
So
process.
what preventing you to go out and doing that, instead of us hiring someone to do this?
Doing the reassessment, doing the data collection, which part of it or all of it?
All of it.
Sure, but, you know,
We have Kathy in the office.
right, but Kathy and I, there's a division of labor between what we do. What her job responsibilities
know
are
that.
and mine are a little different.
You're a lot higher. That means you know what you're doing when you go in the field.
Yes.
Kathy can answer questions in the office, even if you did it 3 days a week, or 2 days a week in
You
the
know,
summer.
you struggle with having me out of the office when I go to lunch. I'm pretty sure you don't want me out of the office 3 whole days a
Well, I
week.
had a struggle when you go out of office for
I
lunch,
don't
because
think
there's
we
2 of you
want
out of
to.
the office for lunch.
Right,
I don't
I know.
struggle if there's one of
I
you.
don't want to get into that.
but
No,
besides,
what I'm asking, we got an assessor that can assess. Why can't she go in the field and assess?
I would feel uncomfortable.
We do go out
for
and
her
assess.
to-
I
to
mean, I go out-
alone, to tell you the truth.
No one's gonna let her on the property if they have an addition to the house.
well, you know what, we do have a lot of people that do let us out.
Yeah, but I'm saying, somebody.
They're not
puts-
required to have to let us on the property, but we do have a lot of
But if
people
I
that
add a
out.
bathroom to my house, and I know it's gonna assess my house more, or I add a bedroom, or I add whatever it might be, I'm not letting you in my house.
More than likely, I would say no.
You'd be stupid if you did.
Well, you want to, I mean, we go out, we inspect properties, when we get building permits, we go out and look at it. When we get sales that don't look normal to us, we go out and we review them. So we are going out, doing valuation, field work, all the time that we go out to do it. So
Does
that
that
is
get-
part of what we do.
Does that get reflected back in the database? Do you update the database?
That does.
And does the database from 25 years ago, are there pictures there or no? It's just
The
description.
pictures were taken not 25 years ago, their pictures were taken, I want to say, in 80,
Oh, my God.
no, I'm sorry, 98,
Okay.
or maybe 2001 when we did one of those
So
projects.
it's only 19,
But
20 years.
only for a certain percentage of homes.
No, we're trying to get all the pictures now for all the homes and get rid of all the
So
older
from, like
pictures.
2000, we have pictures of every house that was in existence in 2000?
Yes,
Okay.
at least most of them, some
So
of them.
You could kind of roughly do a drive-by comparison of what the picture you have and what it looks like today and make some value judgment based
We've
on
been
that.
taking pictures of both the front, the sides, and the back of the properties, so we can absolutely tell if there's been any change over the years.
Yeah. I
So
guess-
it's not just drive-by, take a picture of the front.
And this is what the
Data
gentlemen,
collector
the
was
people,
doing.
data
Yep.
collectors we have.
They
are
go
doing.
out there, they measure the property to make sure that the measures are correct. They make sure the inventory that we have on property is the same. If somebody's home, like a property owner's home, they will go up, they'll introduce themselves, they'll knock, they'll say, could I do an inspection on your property? No, I don't want you in the house. Okay, can I ask you a couple questions? We want to make sure that the town has the correct information on your house,
So we're about 30 to 40% done with that.
of residential only.
So but we're having a lot of difficulty finding the right person to hire
You
to
want to make
continue
sure,
that.
yep, you want to make sure you have someone that knows how to do it, because they have to be almost state certified, or else the state's not going to be able to certify the revaluation.
I'm looking at it right there.
But
You're state certified, you're ready to go.
we do go out and we do the percentage of all the building permits that come
I think
into
you're
our
saying there's
office.
only a certain percentage you can do, and then there's more that needs to be
It's got to be a balance. I mean, we go out, we collect all the new construction, we go out and we look at the sales, like I said. I mean, we have
You can't go
200,
out 2 days
300.
a week and just focus on that?
We could possibly, but it's kind of a balance. I mean, when we do our exemptions, we don't really want to leave our office empty that much, and there's a lot going on. I mean, I know Howard had asked us to do a little kind of project thing, and there's just so much going on at this point. You know, school bills go out September 1, forget it. Our phones were off the hook this year with questions and people coming in and people with comments. It's
So,
it's a
When I-
job that's just, we used to have a downtime over the summer where we would be able to go out and do field work and be able to do this. And that period is gone anymore.
So, maybe we could just sit down and see and discuss this a little further to see maybe if there's a day or two that might work for you. And if not, then we'll understand that. But let's just have the conversation on that.
I mean, depending on how we want, you're putting the project back 2 to 3 more years. If we only have somebody that goes out and does it one day.
The point of the
days.
matter is, we can't find anybody for that part-time slot, right?
True.
But
we are still-
Is it hourly wage? I know when we
You
did
do pay an hour. Yep.
So what
Do we pay too
pay
low an hour?
You paid, I think, $20 an hour with the town
13
vehicle.
No, $15 an hour. It's $13,000 a year, so
It's over that now. That was what it was a few years ago.
$13,000 and you get 15 hours a week, whatever that
Is
comes
it,
out to.
is it the problem we have with the crossing guards, where we
Yeah,
weren't
that's
paying
what I
enough?
was just thinking,
Because once we raised
bumped it up.
once we bumped it up, we now have
That
crossing
and-
guards.
And there's a certain amount of skill you have to understand.
You gotta have.
Well, we're gonna have to
it's
pay
not
for
like
the
you
skill.
want
I mean, if you have the skill, you want the money.
Yeah, you have to pay for a skill,
go.
you know? So we might have to look at what we were paying.
It's not only us looking for that. I've reached out to all the assessors in Ulster County, and
like
almost
banging
every
your
one
head
of them is
against the
having
wall.
problems finding somebody because they're all in the same position. They want to hire a part-time data collector to
Yeah.
go out to be able to do it, and they
Well,
just
maybe we need
can't
to
find
get
it.
together with Palatic
So
Hill
who does-
and hire a full-time person.
We tried that already,
Sure.
Who does
We
Ulster
tried it with
County
her.
use?
yeah.
Ulster County themselves,
Do they have,
they do not go out and do that.
they
no.
have assessors up there, right?
The Ulster County has 5 people in their whole department. They're not going out and doing
Yeah.
anything.
That's not gonna happen.
They don't have, any assessors, obviously, because it's done by the towns individually.
Most of the assessors are all doing their own towns.
Exactly, there you go. See, you just answered my question. Most assessors are doing their own. What? Tommy Schroeder. Oh, come on.
Poor guy.
I love Tom, but I don't know if he could get
Yes,
there.
Cindy, I just want to ask, do you know how many residential parcels there are, how many commercial parcels?
We don't have a whole lot of commercial and farm, we're primarily residential. Maybe about 2,900 out of the total residential.
But you have the farming,
We have farm, we have commercial, we have industrial, yep,
do you have a breakdown of all of those, or,
in my office somewheres,
okay, I'll give you a call.
yeah. Couple state-owned land, some nonprofit.
I guess like Al says, it's like we're trying to figure out, it's been going on to the 4th year now. And
It's,
we're only at about 35%, let's just say.
yeah, we
I
haven't
mean,
had
it's no
somebody,
fault in anybody's,
We
we're
can't get,
just
we can't
saying,
get somebody to do this job, it
I
seems
know,
like.
I think the last time we put a ad in the paper was maybe 4 months ago, 3 months ago. Daniele ran one not that long ago, and I don't even think anybody
Well, I'm
applied.
just saying, I think we, as a board, we talked about this. If it's not getting done, we have to figure out an alternative solution to the answer here. Because what we're doing is not working. 4 years and 35% being done is something, to me, is a failure. Okay? That's where I'm at.
we had 3 people.
I know, but it's, to me, going on 4 years and only being at 30 or 35% is a failure. So what we're doing is not working. We have to, if we want to do this seriously, we either have to spend the money or we got to get Cindy and someone else to go out in the field and do this work. That's the end of the story. We have to get this done. By the time we get it done, it'll be 18 years again, and we'll have to start over. So
Is there-
that's the projection we're on here.
Is there somewhere we can go to get an accurate per hour, part-time, per hour wage? Because, I mean, again, if we're offering $20 an hour, and these people usually get paid 40 for their expertise, we need to know that to hire them, to get them here.
Every job, every place, all the assessors make all different monies. Some assessors have contracts, some don't. Some have unions, some don't. Everybody makes something different.
But these aren't assessors.
These are just the
folks are
part-time,
not
the
assessors.
data
Correct.
collectors, yeah.
They're
But-
assessor technicians or something like that. don't know what you
They're-
call them.
Yeah, there's gotta be a wage scale for them.
Is there a company you get that could build a bid package and we could bid this out and get this out? I mean, is
That's
there
the
a
one that
company
came in
does
at
this?
350,000
No,
to
no, no, not a
380.
company, like an attorney, like an actual bid package that you put it out and people bid on doing this job, just like we do other jobs.
Once the town decides what they want to do and which avenue they want to pursue, you put an RFP out, and then
Right.
you have all the companies come in for it. But that wasn't what you tasked me at. You had
Well, why
tasked
don't
me
we do
in-
an RFP and see what, and
Comes-
actually put it out to the.
see what
the-
comes back.
to Put it out there, instead of having you call people, okay, we got an idea, but let's get an RFP together, how do we do that? I would assume we have to work through your department, because you're gonna have to get a list of every single, like Mark just asked, every single property we have in town would have to go on an RFP, so they know what they'd have to do. And actually put it out there. I mean, that doesn't cost us that much money. At least we'll find out what it really costs to do this.
I don't even think it would cost much money.
Right, it's not gonna cost much to put an RFP out.
Just a legal notice in the paper would be
But
about it.
isn't that what you?
No, you have to have a lawyer
It's-
look at it.
Yeah.
It's a
Legal
whole,
fees.
like, 25-page packet.
It's not
We've done
that
it before
simple.
when
We've done
we
them
did
before, a
them.
lot of it's
That's what you
boilerplate,
gotta
but you
rough
still have to
out.
have,
That's the $350,000
it's not gonna break our bank.
figure.
No, it ain't gonna break our bank.
But we need to know exactly what it's, I agree with Scott, we need to know what it's gonna cost. We really gotta come down to, if we really need to get this done, we need the cost.
$2.5 million bid on the pier, but we got it for 1.5. So when you put an RFP out, you actually get people to bid on it. And some people are more desperate than others.
When we reached out to the company, I did a property analysis, because that was the first question that they asked. They wanted a breakdown of how many properties were based on what our property classes were.
We could do an RFP.
Let's
We
do an
could talk
RFP,
about
just
that.
to see where
If
we
the
are.
board decides that that's not a problem, we could get our lawyer involved and do a proper RFP.
How hard is it to train somebody, Cindy?
It takes a
Yes,
lot of
they
time.
have-
You actually have to be certified through the state. So,
You have to be certified to do this.
yeah, if they're going to sign off
So-
on your revaluation program and
All the people
project,
we've hired-
everybody has to be certified to do what they're doing.
Did we certify these folks, or were they certified?
They were all certified before, because they were all
They were.
assessors.
So you have to, is this something you can get online?
The certification?
Yeah.
No, you have to go to class. Like, I have to go to class each year to continue my certification. It would be the same process. There's a series of basic classes that you have to take in order to get a basic certification. And then if you take anything more than that, you get an advanced certification, and
What
then
is
you
the
get more
title?
classes, and it's professional certification.
What's the title of this person?
Data collector.
Data collection, okay.
So Cindy, let's work tomorrow. Do you feel comfortable with, do you have somebody in mind, a lawyer in mind to do the RFP?
It's a kind of standard one, we just
Okay.
fill in the
It's gonna
blanks.
be boilerplate.
We could use almost the same one that we used when we did it last time.
Okay.
Just
I feel
update and
more
change the
comfortable
numbers.
if it did go to an attorney, but,
Yeah, no, we should have our legal counsel review it, but
Yeah.
again, it's not gonna be a ton of
Whoever we
money.
use for our planning board, or?
yeah, I'll
The
do,
good thing is when you do the
jury
project,
committees,
because it's more than a 12-month time
It's
span.
2 budget cycles.
It's 2 budget cycles, right?
Okay,
So,
let's
I
do
mean,
that tomorrow.
not that that makes you feel any better, but at least
It helps.
it doesn't, the impact, the initial impact isn't as hard as it
And if we
is
found
spread over
somebody-
2 years.
We could get it done within 2 budget cycles, we're saying.
It's 18 months.
18 months.
Anytime that you hire
be
a
2
firm,
budgets.
that's almost what's expected of it. They know they have to come in, they know the dates that
Yeah.
everything has to be done. They know when they have to do the field work, they know when they have to do the informal hearings, they know when they have to do grievance.
Actually, if you started December, you could do it in 3 budgets.
Okay.
Okay,
Hopefully, it wouldn't be 3 budgets.
No, if you do it 18 months and you start in December,
Oh.
there'd be the budget for that month, and you go through a whole 13 months and back to a third budget. It'd still be 18 months.
Yeah, you just break it into
Yeah.
three budget lines. You
Yeah.
could do it that way.
we'll talk.
It depends on how they want, yeah.
So
We could do that.
you have to go.
Is it 8?
Yeah,
It's
it's after
8:05,
eight.
we're get going.
See, you made
You
it.
gotta go.
Thank you, Cindy.
Thank you, Cindy.
Thanks, Cindy.
Don't forget your
Appreciate
case.
That'll be the last time you ever come
Thanks,
in.
Cindy. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Okay.
That's-
Moving along, report of the committees, Recreation Committee.
Well, no, you didn't do the,
What happened? Wait a minute. I left out Howard.
you left
Planning.
Howard's favorite thing.
one, let him go.
Chris,
Oh, boy.
2 meetings, but one
Okay.
short.
I try to skip.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize.
Are we guys ready?
Yep.
Planning Board report, February 3rd meeting on 7:30 PM in Town Hall. Attendees Chris Brand, Manny Cauchi, James Garofalo, Cindy Lanzetta, Joe LaFaro, Ben Trapani. Agenda, Chestnut Petroleum. Applicants' representatives were not in attendance. The second item on the agenda was proposed solar farm on 206 Milton Turnpike. Discussion without attorney, engineer, or stenographer. Ethan Winter and Paul Irby, representatives for Cypress Creek Independent Solar LLC, briefed the board on plans for proposed solar farm at the above address, which would include the possibility of subdividing lots. The board answered several questions regarding the approval process and recommended the applicant set up a meeting with the representatives of the Ulster County Planning Office to avoid any delays in the approval process. Next deadline, Friday, February 7th. Next scheduled meeting, Tuesday, February 18th. Okay, and then we go to the meeting on February 18th. They approved the stenographic meeting minutes for 1/20/2020. That was done unanimously. Everyone was in attendance except for Mr. Clark. First agenda was Griner BSD Realty, 96 Idlewild Road, Marlborough, public hearing, subdivision lot line. Public hearing was opened and closed with no participation from the public. The seeker, neg deck, and notice of determination of non-significance, resolution of approval by the Town of Marlborough Planning Board, and a $6,000 in recreation fees for the application were approved unanimously. Second item was Smith Subdivision, First Street and Milton Extension Subdivision. The applicant of the proposed subdivision requested a 90-day extension. A resolution granting extension of the conditionally approved plat by the Town of Marlborough Planning Board was approved unanimously. Next item was Young, David, and Susan Young, 50 Millhouse Road, Marlborough, sketch and subdivision. The applicant's representative proposed a 4-lot subdivision. The parcel in question contains property in both the Town of Marlborough and the Town of Newburgh. All proposed driveways and construction are located within the Town of Marlborough. The Town of Newburgh Planning Board previously discussed which municipality should act as lead agency. As all construction is within the Town of Marlborough, the Town of Marlborough Planning Board declared intent to circulate as lead agency. The project is a type 1 action due to the proximity of the Gomez House and the possibility of sensitive cultural resource potential. The site is also identified as a potential habitat for the bald eagle, which will require input from New York State DEC. The proposed subdivision will be submitted to both Orange and Ulster County Planning Boards for additional review. The final item was Chestnut Petroleum on 1417 Route 9W Marlborough, SWPPP and site plan. The applicant's representative reappeared and addressed the several requested modifications to their previously approved site plan, including removal of subsurface sanitary sewer disposal system, New York State DOT entrances on site, sidewalks, retaining walls, modification of the proprietary petroleum treatment system, square footage of the bioretention treatment areas, and signage. Additional questions from the board were also addressed. The board unanimously approved the amended resolution of conditional approval for the application of Chestnut Petroleum Distributors Incorporated for the special permit site plan approval from the Planning Board of the Town of Marlborough. Next deadline is February 21st. Next meeting is March 2nd. Respectfully submitted, Chris Brand, Chairman, Town of Marlborough Planning Board. There you go.
Thank you, Howard.
You're welcome.
Moving on.
3 minutes. All right. Now, report of the committees. Recreation Committee.
Recreation Committee, well, the only thing we got from, that I have is on April 10th. This year will be the town Easter egg hunt at the Hudson Valley Sports Dome. Thanks to the Pisa family for donating the sports dome again to us. It's gonna be on Friday, April 10th, and it's doors open at 5 o'clock, and the egg hunt will start at 6:30. In between, we're gonna have, like we usually have, face painting, the Easter Bunny with pictures, and we're gonna have a magician, and Caddy is gonna be there with her Zumba crew, and they're gonna keep the kids occupied. So, come on out April 10th at the Sports Dome.
Thank you, Scott.
That's great.
Anybody else?
You want to mention the playground?
Oh, yes. So on the 28th, we start the playground, the all-inclusive playground up at Coolidge Chance Park. It's on the website. You could contact Celeste Ricciardone, myself, Lyra, and Dave Zambito. So all the numbers are on the website, plus the Facebook, plus the Al Lanzetta website. So, moving along, Emergency Management Preparedness Committee.
Basically, nothing that's been brought up that, I mean, the counties, obviously, we got the report from Tom. Nothing's really affected our plan at all at this point.
Okay. I know that the CAC is looking into the recommendation by the board to get together and have, I think it's what, it's
Climate Smart Community.
Climate Smart Committee, which the board recommended that the CAC look into. So we're looking to see if we could get actually some high school kids, like Alan suggested. IT Committee, we received our servers, we received our firewalls.
Yep, tomorrow I'll be actually, just so you know, those firewalls have not been installed.
No, they haven't.
So we're still only getting 100 megabytes per second into everyone's computer.
Instead of
He's
200.
instead of the 200, even though we're paying for 200 right now. But he is installing those tomorrow. So tomorrow, those new firewalls will be able to go up to 1,000.
Nice.
So, you know, we're well into that. And we'll be doing the test down at the highway after that. He says that the Time Warner cable is the one that tunnels that 50 megs to them. So we got to do a couple tests after he does that tomorrow. But, yeah, so just so you know, that's why you haven't seen your computer lightning fast.
Well, I just use it for email and stuff. So basically also, I did get an email from Spectrum that they were going to install the telephone and the internet at the Tomvac building. I told them to give me a call. I gave them my cell phone number. Friday, they were supposed to call me. They never called me. I didn't have time to follow up today, so I'll follow up tomorrow, see what the problem is.
Well, I have one request though, Al, now that we know that Jerry has, or will be receiving his grant money for his live scan. And I would request that next meeting, we put on the agenda the PCs
Yep.
to be ordered. And I believe if we looked at it, I think it was 17 PCs. Well, we'll go look back at it again.
Yeah. So when you get that check, let us know. Oh, yeah. Oh, no, with the grant and the,
We won't get that check for a long time. That's pay first, refund later.
Yeah, you gotta pay it first, right?
Yeah, so close that
Then you
grant.
get reimbursed.
Probably won't get that check this year. I don't think it'll come this year.
I think you,
That grant,
I think you'll get it. If you pay for it, you'll get it probably. I mean,
Oh, no, the grant's approved, we got it,
Grant's
right, so the paperwork, we're
Yeah.
getting it. I ordered the machine, but I don't think by the time it gets installed in the process, and DOJ refunds the money, I don't think you're gonna see it in 2020,
okay.
maybe late 2020.
well, we know we're getting it. It's not-
No, we're getting it. That's fine.
Okay.
So, like I say, what we're gonna be doing here, as we talked about, about a month ago, is we're probably gonna have to take out of the reserve fund to get these, and then that money would reimburse the
Yeah, just
reserve.
put it back
fund
in reserve.
when we get the check back,
That's
so.
what reserve's there for.
Okay.
All right.
We'll definitely have it on the next agenda. I think it was 17 also.
I think it was 17.
Moving right along. Milton Train Station Foundation. There's no report on that. Milton Landing Citizens Committee.
Yeah, we've been talking about it, we're just trying to bounce some dates around because I'm traveling a lot in April. Looking to do a cleanup in the month of April, so I'll have something I'm hoping at next meeting to report, and then at the next month, first of the month meeting, I'll have a solid date. We're gonna need some rocks down there, there's obviously a lot of logs we need cut up. Also, I want to see if there's a way to reach out to the dog park people to see if they want to do a cleanup to their dog park the same day. That's pretty much about it.
Okay. Thank you.
So you guys know, another tree company is coming, Lewis Tree Company. They're gonna stage some trucks down at the dog park avenue, basically, still use the dog.
That's fine.
Our
gonna tuck them in the back and not up front?
About 10 trucks down there also.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Down our town hall.
That'll fill up, yeah.
Some of the guys got Lower Marlborough, the tree company from Texas.
Yeah.
And then Lewis has part of Milton here.
You think, for like just a little payback or just appreciation, think they'll cut a tree down at the landing for us?
The landing,
There's
Yeah,
a tree
there's a dead
that's,
tree.
Dead tree?
and we don't want it to fall into the railroad tracks. If you go down, it's to the, if you north, it's the tall dead one.
It's dead indoor now.
Yeah. You gotta ask them.
we have to really, they kind of do it every once in a while. If I ask them to do me a favor for something that's endangering the public, then
It is kind of dangerous.
but if they can't get down there with their truck,
They should be able to. We'll get the truck out there.
south side or
The north side.
It's on the east side of the tracks.
Yeah, it's on the, they'll be able to get it from our land. Cut it. It's right on the fence, the railroad, the chain link fence.
Just,
No, down at the
no,
river.
down at the landing.
Yeah. You just pull
Yeah,
the
take a
bollards
look
out,
at
they'll
it,
be able to
John.
get over there.
See what you,
they usually try to accommodate what I need, so that's why we let them.
Yeah.
It is a hassle sometimes because you have like 30 guys just want to go wherever they want and park where they want.
Yeah. Maybe we could draw some lines for them.
okay.
All right.
The Marlborough Hamlet Economic Development Committee?
Yes, so what Alan said, we're gonna do that in Marlborough. So we had a good, sort of revival meeting of, Economic Development Committee in, that's the one that Al mentioned at the Bricks, last week, I think, and we had Teddy Harpolis there and his brother, obviously, the owners, and, Tara, I know her as Tara Pross, I don't know what her married name is, but she was there. She owns that new business right by Frankie's. And Dave Zambito, myself, Al, Will Hughes were there, and Vivian. So Vivian came and told us the magic that they do in Milton Hamlet, and we're going to try to recreate that in terms of beautifying the hamlet of Marlborough with flowers and pots, and we're going to try to even have our own version of the spring fling at the Bricks. We haven't set a date exactly yet, but we're going to try to use you guys as a template, at the Milton folks as a template, and try to recreate that in Marlborough. And we have some pretty good enthusiasm about doing that, so.
The secret? Yeah.
What's that?
They had it in Marlborough before they had it in Milton. and they
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want to say that.
The secret is Jimmy, who does a lot of the watering, has basically not invented, because they've already been out there, but he figured out a way to make self-watering.
Yeah, because he's not going to do it anymore, somebody
Well,
said.
he's gonna keep an eye on it, but
Okay.
he can't do it, he can't dedicate 5 or 2 hours a day, sometimes twice a day. But he figured out a way to do the self-water. All the hanging baskets last year were self-watering. He filled them up with 8 gallons of water in the beginning of the season, and I don't think he had to refill them again. The rainwater fills them back up.
Okay.
So,
All of that knowledge, we're going to try to just suck it in.
there you go.
Okay. So anyway, it was a good meeting, and
Yeah, it
good to have
was.
new blood.
So, meet me in Marlborough?
Meet Me Marlborough, I think we have a meeting with them at the end of March, when Judy Clark comes back from Florida. We're going to have a meeting with Judy, and I'm not sure, are you going to be there?
I think so.
Yeah, March 31st, I think it is.
Hamlet Milton Association Committee?
Okay, I spoke with the ladies who run that. April 24th at 6 PM is gonna be the spring fling, and that'll be at the barn.
That's the day we're gonna have it.
What's that?
No, we're going to do it we're going to do it in May sometime.
April 24th?
Yeah, it's 6 PM. It's going to be at the barn. That'll be 6 to 9 at the barn. And then April 26th at 9 AM is going to be the Hamlet cleanup. So if we have any Boy Scouts or any other type groups that want to join, spread the word.
Okay,
Good?
good. Transfer Station Review Committee?
The only update there is we're working on those estimates to remove the tires, so we're waiting for some responses back from people we've asked to give us an estimate.
Okay. Old business, Tomback rehabilitation update. Still waiting on the state for contracts. The LWRP will have 2 resolutions at the next meeting. Water district improvement, no report on that. New business, we decided on the roof of the color of the sewer plant, which is gray.
I might as well just take that off of there then, right?
Yeah, and make a motion.
Make a
to take-
motion to remove A under new business.
And the ladder.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and we have a letter from Kedem. Let's read it.
Alan, what'd you say, Alan? Alan goes, we go from a presentation to a letter.
Yeah, we went from a presentation to a letter.
So it says, Dear Supervisor Lanzetta, Town Board members, this letter is intended to formally request the inclusion of our property located at 1519 Route 9W, Marlborough, into the Marlborough-Milton Water District. We are requesting this inclusion as part of our larger plan to expand our facility at this location and needing a steady, secure source of water for this project. Our water needs for this expansion are estimated to be as follows. Peak, September the 1st to November the 15th, 150,000 to 160,000 gallons per day. Non-peak, November 16th to August the 31st, 115,000 to 125,000 gallons per day. We thank you in advance for your consideration and cooperation in this matter. The letter came as a formality with Shelley Ginsburg talking to, who is the CEO of Kedem, talking to Dennis Lario, saying this is the first step you have to do to make the board aware of your request. So that's what they're doing.
So they're gonna pay for the extension, basically.
No, they're probably gonna see what it's gonna cost for the, because we did it last time, it was 800.
We did.
Yeah, so, and that puts them basically in the same ballpark as Brooklyn Bottling then, as far as their gallons.
Yeah.
The gallons about the same?
Charlie, gallons about the same? A little bit more.
But we could handle that, right?
And I'll ask this, because I'm gonna be asked this, how are we taxing them? We're taxing them commercial?
Who, Kedem?
Kedem.
We haven't got to that point. We will, whatever
it's
the
over a
excess with that Brooklyn Ballin pays, they'll pay also. So,
I thought it was some
we just have to come, like, this is the first baby step, so then we have to look at the overall picture to see exactly how many gallons we have to, we can supply with them, with our contract with the town of Newburgh. So, in talking to Dennis, I'm gonna send him that contract, so that's, we're starting the ball rolling.
He means the property
I mean the
itself.
property itself,
What's
because
that
that's,
gonna be assessed?
people are gonna be asking me that now that,
I don't know what the building's gonna be, I don't know what the large size of the building is, what the assessment, you know, what the assessor, what the assessment would be, with the water improvement, I don't know all that yet. I haven't seen the plans.
They're not even in the district, and they don't even abut the district.
no.
I understand that. So there's a whole process that has to be, this is the first of the process that Mr. Larios has suggested to
But they're-
Mr.
On their are they taxed agricultural production, or are they taxed commercial?
I think they're taxed commercial.
Should know
Get
that.
Cindy back here.
Yeah,
No,
I should ask that when Cindy was
they're
here.
taxed commercial.
I'll send Cindy an email tomorrow.
They're commercial.
Should send her an email now.
Same as Brooklyn Ballin.
Okay.
Yeah, they should do this.
Better be, isn't it?
Any correspondence? Let me see. Yes, I do. I have some
That was
correspondence. I got it here. I'm talking to myself.
I saw that. Just don't answer yourself.
Well, we talked about that. Here's a Dear Chief Kokoza letter.
Oh, boy, who's now?
It is with regret that I tender my resignation from the Town of Marlborough Police Department effective March 31st, 2020. My decision to resign did not come easy and is a result of my ongoing medical condition. I'm grateful for having had the opportunity to have served the communities of Marlborough and Milton, New York as police officer for nearly 10 years. If I can ever be assistance to you or to the Marlborough Police Department, please don't hesitate to contact me. I offer you and the Marlborough Police Department best wishes for continued success, and that's Stephen Kunak? Kunak. He was 10 years.
Yeah, he's been here for a while. He's a city, retired city. Right, yeah.
So I got another Dear Kokoza letter.
Jerry, what are you doing?
Chief Kokoza, I'm writing this letter to inform you of my resignation from the Town of Marlborough Police Department. My last day of employment will be 03/10/2020. Sincerely, Daniel Eckerson.
For her.
She was a dispatcher, though, right? Yes.
Okay. So there's
Now I understand why you say next month,
Get ready for it.
get ready for the overtime. Okay, now it's coming into the picture, Jerry.
Any public comments? All right, none being said, as amended, we took out Resolution 40 and 41, so we'll go to 42. Ooh, what's that?
Coming for you.
That's a long one.
Ambulance.
You got a lot of reading to do.
Just read the
Wasted paper. So, if I'm correct, we'll go to Resolution 42. To oppose the merger of the New York State Bridge Authority and to the New York State Thruway Authority. Supervisor Lanzetta proposes the following, whereas the Hamilton Fish Newburgh Beacon Bridge, known as the Newburgh Beacon Bridge, and the Mid-Hudson Bridge, Poughkeepsie Bridge, spans the Hudson River, and whereas the Newburgh Beacon Bridge, Mid-Hudson Bridge, and other bridges across the river in the Mid-Hudson region, operated by the New York State Bridge Authority, serves as a vital link for the lives and commerce of numerous residents and businesses located in the town who utilize the bridge crossing of the river on a daily basis or even more frequently. And whereas Governor Andrew Cuomo in his 2020-21 budget address has announced legislation to merge the New York State Bridge Authority, which is presently operates 5 bridges across the river, including Newburgh Beacon Bridge and Mid-Hudson Bridge, into the New York State Thruway Authority, and whereas the proposal would in fact abolish the Bridge Authority when all obligations to the holders of bonds have been paid in full or otherwise fully met and discharged, and the Thruway would absorb the Bridge Authority, and whereas it has been reported that a federal law passed in 1987 states that tolls collected on the bridges can only be used to operate, maintain, and repair the Bridge Authority's bridges. And whereas the Bridge Authority is run efficiently, the bridges are well maintained and boast among the lowest tolls in the nation. And whereas, although the merger proposal has been justified by claims that it will result in operational efficiencies, a primary reason for the consideration of the merger is the New York State Thruway Authority announces of budget deficits, which are reported to be growing at an astonishing rate due largely to the cost of the new Mario Cuomo Tappan Zee Bridge. And whereas the merger would likely, in fact, negatively affect the Bridge Authority Hudson River crossing and lead to our residents and businesses subsidizing the cost of the Thruway Authority improvements outside of our areas through higher tolls. And now, therefore, be resolved that the town of Marlborough, in its capacity as a governing body of the town, does hereby oppose the enactment of the provisions in the executive budget of the New York State 2020-21, providing for merger of New York State Bridge Authority into the New York State Thruway Authority. And it be further resolved that the certified copies of this resolution be delivered by the town clerk to the Honorable Andrew J. Cuomo, Governor, the Honorable James Skoufis, Senator for 39th District, and the Honorable Jonathan Jacobson, Assemblyman for the 104th District. And it be further resolved that the aforesaid resolution shall take effect immediately, and moves for its adoption. Man, I said that.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes. All right, I'm not going to read this whole thing. This is Resolution 43 to authorize the supervisor to sign the property owner consent form. So basically, the consent form allows Nexamp to go and do all the things they want to do on our property, and this allows them to do it in this consent form to go on the property, which is at the landfill, to look at the solar proposal that they won the RFP to, and it basically gives me permission from you guys to sign the agreement to move forward, and moves for its adoption. Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Thank you, gentlemen. Moving forward. Resolution 44 to approve budget amendments. Supervisor Lanzetta proposes the following. We resolve that the following budget amendments be approved. This is an accountant thing to balance the budget for 2019, and it's all listed here, and moves for its adoption.
Yes.
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 Yes. Here's a big one. Resolution 45, ratifying a memorandum of agreement for a collective bargaining agreement of CBA between the town of Marlborough and the United Public Service Employment Union. This was an ongoing correspondence with the union people and the highway, myself, David Weiss, Scott Corcoran, and the attorney Michael Wilson for the bargaining.
Bless. Corona.
So basically, like all bargaining and compromises, some of this stuff me and Scott are definitely not happy with. But we did get a few things, so it's a compromise, and we could revisit in 5 years. Do you want to talk about anything? I know you're disappointed as well as I am, Scott, but
I think what you said is true. I think we had a good negotiations, I mean, with the UPSEU. There's one sticking point was that we talked about through our emails was sick time. And me and Al definitely are not happy about the resolution on sick time. But as we stated, I think this is what the guys wanted, and unfortunately, maybe we'll have to revisit this in 5 years again, because I think for their best interest, it's probably the best thing for everybody that we revisit this. We had tried to ask to get it resolved in this negotiations, but they couldn't get done.
So Scott, basically what I read with what came through is now they have unlimited, they can bank unlimited sick time as well.
unlimited.
So now, if somebody retires this year and they got 200 days, they can't, John's handcuffed up. Right, until that 200 days, so basically handcuffs you for,
Absolutely. That's what we,
That's why we don't like it.
yeah.
Sooner or later, some highway superintendent is going to have several people leave
Yeah,
at one
yeah.
time.
It's crazy.
The town's going to have a big problem.
Right.
It's not a good, I was even not happy with my guys that sat in there.
Yeah.
Because as far as I'm concerned, nobody asked me anything. I was just left out in the cold.
Right.
And I think it probably won't affect me, but sooner or later.
It could.
It
yeah.
could.
And I'm just gonna tell you how the union works. You never give nothing back. I've been in the union for how many years? And sitting on the other side of the table.
Yeah,
doesn't
never gonna
mean
get back.
every day I do good.
I agree, John. I think the people that this hurts the most is you and Charlie.
Charlie's got a guy that has probably 100-something sick days when Cliff decides to leave.
I mean, budgetarily, like I said through emails, budgetarily, this does not cost the taxpayer in
No.
Marlborough anything more.
it's a
It
hardship
just hurts the
on you
departments.
too.
It's a hardship on these guys or their departments when it happens,
Well,
because
they
you
figure
can't
if
hire
first-
anybody until they're off the
Two
books.
people go out at the same time, isn't it?
So to us,
In the wintertime.
Right.
To us, we were trying to configure it sort of like how the police department is configured. But their attorney, Michael Wilson, didn't want to have anything to do with that, so, you know, well, again, we work very well with these departments, and we wanted to keep our working relationship good, and this is what they wanted, and it doesn't cost the taxpayer actually any more money.
Yeah, but
But it
wait,
does-
it costs the taxpayer services.
Yeah, well, in a way it does, right? You're
What's
right.
gonna use
I
it,
agree.
call it temporary
I
labor.
mean, basically, the most, they get
You have
10
to
sick
call them
days a
temporary
year, right?
Yeah.
So if you work your time, the most you could, if you work 30 years, the most you could accumulate, which is a lot, is 300 sick days.
Which is almost a year.
It's almost a year. I
See,
mean,
that-
no one
got
has
younger
anything
people now.
close to that. I mean, well, you don't get it because you're not in the union. I said, but you're not in the union, so you're not privy to this.
So,
But most of the guys don't. But our fear is this, and as you know, if you were in the position, you may not use sick days, or you may not accumulate sick days now, but once you know you will get paid for them later on, you probably will accumulate sick days. And that was our argument going at it.
you figure.
It is what it is.
Again, in 5 years, their attorney out of their mouths was, and they even said it, the guys in there, that they would revisit it in 5 years. Again, not sure why we couldn't just revisit it at that moment, but
How many people are close to retirement, John?
Not a lot, I mean.
Not right now.
Not right now.
We hire a lot of young.
Hard to keep people, especially when they can go some, you know, obviously,
Yeah.
we're pretty decent paid, but there is a lot of places that are higher. So people all the time, it's easy to come and go, especially if you're a truck driver.
Well, in that sense, this would be an incentive to keep them there.
But how many years do they have? 20 years they give it?
What's an incentive to keep them?
Yeah,
Sick days, huh?
$10 more an hour.
You're gonna take
that's
it,
the
I know.
incentive.
yeah, but what you guys gotta remember too, they
Young guy's
actually
not
have
taking
to
this.
retire into the New York State system for this benefit to kick in. It's not like they worked 5 years and decided to get another job somewhere else and
No,
left.
no.
Does it state
They don't
that?
get it.
Where does it state that?
They lose, it says it right in the contract. It says right there, you have to retire into the New York State retirement system in order to
Well,
get this.
I didn't see any
But-
of the paperwork, so I couldn't.
But it's still would
If you
affect
retire,
John
so if you're
more.
in 5 years and leave, you lose all your sick time,
What is it now?
just like.
It's gonna affect the department heads more.
Yeah, we realize that.
That's what it's gonna do.
I mean, if you lose 2 guys in the wintertime, you're gonna have to get temp help to keep the roads clear. There's no way you're gonna get around it. So it is gonna cost the taxpayers money.
Wants to know why there's.
No, they're not gonna get no help, because it's not budget.
But I'm just, then you're gonna have roads
Well,
not
that's-
plowed.
Unfortunately,
When we
that's
get
on
to
the
that-
UPSCU employees who signed this agreement.
I don't think that the people of the town are gonna wanna hear that. Okay.
Unfortunately, again, you have a budget, you can't hire people. If 2 people retire in the winter, then the UPSCU employees are gonna have to work double shift. I don't know what to tell
Well,
you.
you can only be a
because
certain
they
amount of
wanted
hours on the road, correct? I mean,
They wanted this agreement, they have to abide by the agreement. That's the way it works.
Yep.
We're not happy with it, but that's the way contracts work.
all right.
Yep,
Gotcha.
Just wanna voice my opinion.
yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
We're voting no, I don't think it's a good idea. Not gonna change anything.
Ed, do you want to take Alan's place? You want
What's that?
Check whose place?
to? Alan,
Oh, you guys are ready? Yeah, I'm gonna bring this up. I'm gonna look for a motion to adjourn. Can I
I'll
get a
second
second?
it.
all in favor?
All right.
So moved. Thank you, gentlemen.